might be easy to point and laugh, but before you start judging, give a little grace, because if you're the one up here in the hot seat, being misdirected by someone who has spent their entire life learning how to deceive people, it's a little bit harder to figure out what's going on. And the reason why I love sharing this with people is because this happens to us every single day. 5,000 times a day, in fact. Remember those 4,000 to 5,000 messages all saying, hey, drive this, buy this, wear this, just do this, and it will give you life. The problem is it doesn't give us life, right? Sometimes it feels like a desert in this world, and our souls are so thirsty, aren't they? Because I believe that God, the person who created you, this miraculous, supernatural God, that he created your soul to crave the things that he meant for you to experience, like meaning, joy, purpose, love, community, and therefore you're craving connection to those things. And so all our world has to come along and do is to say, hey, look at this. The problem is it doesn't have to be a real version of that thing. It just has to be a counterfeit version that looks real, right? And so we start chasing it down. We get it. We rack up friends on Facebook or followers on a social media platform. We buy that new shiny car. We move into that house. And it feels good for a short period of time. And then eventually our soul starts to get thirsty again because we got duped by a mirage. It was just a clever illusion in the desert. In fact, when Jesus was here on earth, he said some famous words. He says, hey, if you just come drink of me, I'm living water. If you drink of me, you will never be thirsty again. Now, we have access to that truth, but there's a lot of people who say that truth doesn't even exist. Here's a question for you guys. When Rayson was sitting in this chair, did he have access to the truth? Yes or no? No. Rayson, did I tie you down to this chair? No. Were you handcuffed? No. That means every single person that sits in this chair, they all have the ability to just go, I wonder. I'm curious. I wonder if there's more going on around me than what I can currently see. The problem is not that there was no truth. The truth was right there waiting to be discovered, and it actually could have set him free from the illusion that was trapping and entangling his perspective. The problem is not that there is no truth, it's that we're so busy being focused on what the world tells us we're supposed to fix our eyes on that we forget about the truth. Now, I'm not the first person to ever talk about this. In fact, there's some really famous words in the Bible. A guy named Paul said this. He said, walk by
faith,
not by
sight.
Yeah, which is ironic because that's a guy who went blind for 3 days after he came face to face with his creator. So the guy who wrote those words literally had to walk by faith instead of by what he could see. But before he penned those words in that chapter, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, at the end of chapter 4, he said this. Maybe you've heard these words before too. He said, fix your eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Now let's pause there for a second. There's more to the verse. For every single trick that I do for you on stage tonight, there's the part that you see, and then there's the unseen part, the secret. If I want to deceive you, then my job is complicated but simple in concept, to simply distract and get your eyes focused on what I want you to see, so that what is unseen remains unseen, so that you don't figure it out. Now, Paul went on to label those two things, what is seen and what is unseen, so that we would understand why we're supposed to fix our eyes on the unseen part. Fix your eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, because what is seen is
carnal,
but what is unseen is eternal. Guys, it's almost as if even 2,000 years ago, people were getting a little bit too distracted by the things that they could see. And even though there was a real unseen world going on all around us that is spiritual, it's easy to forget about. It's easy for us to not fix our eyes on it because the world is constantly saying, look at this. But what if we're investing a little bit too much of our lives in temporary things? There really is some truth, and it can be trusted. And I really do believe that that truth can set you free. I want to give you a picture of how my life felt when my life was entangled in lies. To do that, I need 2 final volunteers from the audience for the first half of our show. I'm looking for maybe like a father-son duo or a couple of teenage guys, something like that. Where are our volunteers? All right. It doesn't have to be. I could just get 2 gentlemen up here to help out. Let's go with this guy right here in the polo. Yeah, well, you were raising your hands and then seeing bummed that I picked him. Yeah, let's go with, there was a gentleman over here that raised his hand earlier. Was it you, sir, right here in the blue? Yeah, come on up. Both. All right.
Do it.
What's your name? Bryson. Very nice to meet you, Bryson. I'm Harris. What's your name, sir? Steve. Do either one of you have any idea what that is? Straight jacket, yeah. This was designed and meant to be worn by the criminally insane. Bryce, you can step out of there.
I need one of those.
This is designed and meant to be worn by the criminally insane to keep people from harming themselves and other people around them. What we have to figure out now is who is standing on stage that's crazy enough to be strapped inside the straight jacket.
The blue!
Okay, all right. That's all right. Legally, you guys have nothing to worry about. Legally, I'm not allowed to put anybody inside of a straitjacket. It's kind of a bummer for me, but it has something to do with liability insurance. Apparently, their arms are tangled up. They could trip and fall off the edge of the stage and die or something. I don't know. So
That's
you're
what
here on
you're
stage.
like.
Obviously, you
in
put
about
me inside a
5
straitjacket. You're going to do that as tight as you possibly can. I mean that. You guys seem like nice guys, but the tighter you put me inside of the jacket, the harder it's going to be for me to get out. The harder it is for me to get out, the more fun it's going to be for all of them to watch me try, and the higher chance that I might fail. For those of you who are wondering, yes, I have failed before. It's very embarrassing. All right, guys, step right up here behind my shoulders. You're going to begin by pulling the straitjacket up over my shoulders and onto my arms, and then you're going to start with those 4 straps back there in the back. Oh, hang on one second. I almost forgot. There will be one point where it'll be really obvious that you could hurt me. When that time comes, please be mature. Please do not hurt me. The rest of the time, you can make it tight. They work just like a little bit. Work together as a team to go faster that way. Get them as tight as they'll go. All right, put that pin in the very last notch. I'll explain to you guys how this works. As you guys can tell, the straitjacket was designed to be worn backwards. That way the person can be put into the jacket against their will, up against a wall or a floor. It's also what made it so hard to get out of, because the straps are back there in the back. The person wearing the jacket can't reach them or see them. Even if you could reach them, they're kind of hard to mess around with because the ends of the sleeves are sewn shut. Everything's reinforced with leather and rivets. That's a type of material that does not stretch or give in any way whatsoever. As soon as I get that down, I'm gonna spin around, give you guys a quick look at the back of the jacket, and then we will continue. How's it going back there, guys? Got those first 4? Yeah? All right. It may not seem too tight yet. I'll give the audience a quick look at your work. It'll be really tight by the time we're done. There's a few more straps. This next strap right here was the 5th strap. It was designed to go between the person's legs. It was buckled back to the back right there to keep it from bursting, from being able to pull it up over the top of their heads. This is the part I was talking about. Not so tight. When you guys grab into that strap, do not yank on it fast, okay? You are going to make it as tight as you go. Make it as tight as you go. Put the pin in the very last pinhole. Yep. Yeah, it's okay, it's okay. It'll go on the last one, okay? Okay. As soon as you get that done, that strap's running vertically. Take it into that strap, the excess. Tuck it underneath one of the other straps in the back. I want to make sure the end of that strap isn't flopping around where I could get my hand on easily. Last but not least, for the 2 arms, they were crossed over in front of the person's body like this. The 6th and final strap was riveted to the end of the sleeve, ran around the person's body, was buckled to the end of the sleeve on the other side. Guys, there's 2 of you, it's 1 strap. This is where you guys work together as a team. One of you can take the strap, the other one of you can push in my arms and my shoulders. I'll be honest, this is the strap that determines whether it is easy or difficult for me to get out of the straitjacket. You're not gonna hurt me, so put some muscle into it, all right? Yeah, there you go, put some muscle into it. Come on, make it tight. Make it tight. Yeah, it's not tight. Okay, now it's tight. Okay.
Woohoo!
Should have kept my mouth shut. You might hurt me, actually. It's always guys from Arkansas.
Yes!
Are you guys satisfied? You should be. It's very tight. Give them both a big round of applause as they go back to their seats. Guys, thanks so much. You may be seated. The straitjacket became famous not after it was implemented and used in asylums, but after it was presented as a challenge to the world-famous escape artist by the name of
Houdini.
Harry Houdini. The first 2 times he was strapped inside the straitjacket, he didn't hang upside down with a rope, we've seen from those pictures and history books. The first few times he got out, he actually flopped around the ground of a jail cell until he found his freedom. I'm going to break the rules of magic here tonight. I'm going to reveal to you the secret of how Houdini got out of the straitjacket for 2 reasons. 1, I think you'll find this a fascinating piece of history, and I'm telling you, 2nd, just in case you ever find yourself in this position someday. You never know. Houdini finally realized that if he dislocated one of his shoulders, it gave him the ability to stretch one of his arms up over the top of his head. With his shoulders still at place, he'd bring his arms back around the front of his body and begin the most difficult part of the escape. It may not seem like it, but the hardest part is actually getting an arm out of the sleeve of the jacket. It's made out of canvas, it doesn't stretch. But if you can get an arm out of the sleeve, you could take that arm into the body of the jacket, Houdini could shove his hand out of the top and bottom openings and try to stretch around and reach some of the buckles in the back. If you can get undone or at least loosen 2 or maybe 3 of those back buckles, that was enough slack for him to be able to stretch and pull the jacket up over the top of his head. Obviously, it was incredibly painful, which is exactly why the straitjacket escape itself has pretty much become a part of the history books. Most people have never experienced this, perform live in person. Not many performers do this anymore. Guys like me who do over 100 performances a year some years, I do not do this in every single performance just because of the toll it takes on your body. But I am in the state of Arkansas, and this is the Real Magic Tour. So I will now perform this. Rewind. Let me choose my words carefully. It's pretty tight. I will now attempt this for your entertainment pleasure. I have felt before. I hope it works. Are you ready?
Yes!
That was pretty weak. Are you ready?
My soul cries out for 'cause only you can raise the dead, could lift my head up. My soul cries out, my soul cries out for you. These bones cry out, these dry bones cry for you to live. 'Cause life is breaking out, it's breaking out. Life is breaking out, it's breaking out, it's breaking
Praise Lord!
One second.
Wow.
This is usually part of the show where I'm supposed to say, do not try this at home. Yo, let's be honest. Do you have a straitjacket laying around your house? We probably need to get you on some sort of counseling here at the church. Instead, let me share this thought with you guys. I'm not going to come